welcome. My name is Errity Green, and today I'm bringing you a pick a card reading on what you are meant to know now, or what you are ready to know now. So I will be offering this reading today. If you find you enjoy this, if it resonates, like, subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications every single time a new reading pops up. If you want to get to know more about me or my work, or you are interested in becoming certified as a professional spiritual mentor, do check out erritygreen.com/theacademy, where you'll also find my website. Last but not least, I do have another YouTube channel, Psychic True Crime. You can find that linked below. All right, I will place a picture up of your 3 card piles to choose from today. As always, you are choosing from left to right. Okay, card pile 1, let's dive into your reading. So right away, it's clear. It's like you want something so desperately. You want something so desperately. Maybe you've tried, you put an effort, you've prayed, you've begged, you've pled, you've done the work, blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is you have done it. You are aware of it. When I'm saying it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you were just like ready for it, okay? Saying whatever it is you've asked for, pled for, pleaded, pled, begged for, been desperate for, hoped for, whatever, it's going to require you to move, okay? And some of you are going to be like, I'm doing all the things, you know? I've already put my foot to the pavement, pedal to the metal. I've done all the things. Or maybe, hey, I've done all the things and I'm effing tired, you know? I'm over it. Like, what else should I do? And it's saying movement. So movement toward where you're wanting to go. So some of you here, I feel like you might have had movement, but it's sort of been like a hamster wheel, right? Where you're staying in the same location and doing the same thing over and over and over again. There's some kind of stuckness, we'll put that in quotes, where you're doing the same things or similar things or whatever and kind of hoping for something or waiting for something. And it's like, but actually you're just going round and around and around again. And so it's like getting out of that stuckness. So asking yourself, where have you been stuck? Where have you been playing out the same routines, the same habits, the same behaviors? Where have you been sort of doing the same things? Like, it's kind of like, again, it gives me that energy of like the door-to-door salesman who knocks on all these doors and they're like, nothing is happening. No one is saying yes. And someone's like, well, what have you done? And they're like, well, I've done this and I've done this route for 3 or 4 years. Like 4 years, I've done this route, you know, knock on this door. And someone's like, well, have you tried a new route? We're like, well, no. And it's like, okay, we'll try the new route. There's something here about leaving some kind of hamster wheel, pattern, stuckness, something behind. There is movement, something out of the comfort zone, out of the familiar. Not that it has to be like something that's like, you know, next level, quantum leap, totally out of left field, something you aren't even aware of. I feel like many of you even know, like you know what you need to do, you just haven't done it, or you've been like, I've already done all these other things, and so you have all these excuses as to why you can't, won't, shouldn't, whatever, right? And I get you, and I understand you, and I actually feel this pile, so I understand. It's asking you to move, asking for you to make the move, right? It's like the whole checkmate thing, or check, you know, where you check somebody, you got to check the universe, like you got to make your move, and then the universe can make its move. If you're doing the same things, it's like that. What is it? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a new result. There's something being asked of you. So wherever you have been stuck in a hamster wheel, even if it feels like a lot of movement, it's almost like, is all that movement really just anxiety or neurosis, or just like sort of like the same old thing of avoidance or whatever? Like, is it actually impactful or meaningful? It's just being honest with yourself, because there's movement required out of that. So whatever that wheel is, even if it's things you think you've been doing right or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means there's something different, new energy, fresh energy, something different. There was something else there too that I wanted to capture, and it came through, and I was already talking about something else, but it's like you're spinning around and around again, but it's not actually making a meaningful difference or a meaningful change. And in order to make that meaningful change or difference, you actually have to do something different. Because like, even if it is movement inside this wheel, it's still in that wheel, and it requires you to leave it behind. So again, asking where you're stuck, been engaging in the same patterns, feel like you require a breakthrough or need a breakthrough. There's some kind of like same old tired routine, we'll put that in quotes, that kind of feels exasperated or exhausted or over or done with or whatever. Like it's long since expired and you're hoping for more life. It feels like that's going to have to be left behind. Whatever it is you were doing before, maybe it doesn't mean that you have to let it go. I wouldn't, from a tarot reading, just say, okay, I'm giving up my life's work. I wouldn't go that far. It's saying like, where have you been sort of doing the same old tireless routines? You're not getting anywhere where you can try something different, right? The door-to-door salesman isn't quitting his job. He's just starting a new neighborhood. Where is there fresh energy? Something new, something different, tapping into a new resource, a new market, whatever your whole situation is, whatever it is you're seeking. Right now, you're meant to know you need to move out of that hamster wheel, move out of that cycle, move out of that stuckness. Yeah, because your manifestation ability is directly tied to your ability to come to life, meaning it's already inside of you. It's up to you. So the more you do different, come alive, feel better, feel energized, feel on top of the world, feel energy pulsing through your veins, feel excited to be alive or feeling alive. It's like directly related to your ability to manifest. So if you're feeling down in the dumps or blue or melancholy or tired, burnt out, exhausted, let's just be honest, you don't have the energy to manifest. And we don't have to get down on ourselves about that. Sometimes in our lives, we need rest. We need a sabbatical. We need some time away. Give yourself permission then to do that. If that's where you're at and that's what you need right now, tell yourself that, make it a conscious choice, set the time block on it, or the, what is it called? And for books, when we hold them up. But yeah, the bookend on a kind of thing where you're like, okay, I'm going to finish out the rest of the year on a sabbatical. And I'm just going to be completely honest with myself. I'm not going to give it too much attention, but I will start the year fresh with new movement, with new inner resources, whatever it is. This is yet another excuse to procrastinate. This is actually being more intentional, and it's being honest with yourself about where you're actually at and what it is you really want. So from there, though, it's recognizing that what is going to bring about greater manifestation in terms of whatever it is you want or want to create, want to achieve, want to experience, it does require your energy. So if you're out of energy and you're out of care and you're out of F's, you're probably not going to get anywhere. You want to get yourself back into a state of sort of like the Fool in the Tarot, where you do feel alive, you do feel inspired, you do feel drawn, you do feel ready, you feel courageous, you're ready to take it on, to do the thing, to fight for the thing, whatever that is. And of course, we're not talking about finding another hamster wheel where you're just running around for no reason. Again, this is meaningful action, intentional action, aligned action, something different, something out of the same old tired routine. Because if it's the same old tired routine where you're still feeling same old and tired, that's not the energy you want to be in. You need energy that's new, exciting, fresh. It's like going out and taking a big breath of fresh air. If what you're doing is not giving you fresh air, that's not the answer. Okay. Now, if you don't know and you're just like, well, shoot, it's been too long and girl, I don't know what you're saying or what to do. Just try something different, do different things until bing, the inspiration comes or the insight comes or the breakthrough comes. Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we have to just try different things and see what happens. Oftentimes we're living out the answers to our questions. We don't often get them answered and handed to us, as much as I would even love that and even talk about it regularly. I love it. I was just, here you go. Even as someone who can do readings, usually always sends us back to us. And so, this is all about going to the places within yourself and within your life that keep you energized, inspired, ready, active, energized. So if that's exercise, like actual literal movement, or if it's fresh ideas, or if it's being in spaces of young minds that, are new and innovative and different, or new platforms, maybe a social media platform, something that's new, different, alive, fresh for you, uniquely, getting it more into that energy, because that's what's going to carry you through. Yeah, this is about you playing, okay? Moving toward your joy, moving toward your aliveness, moving toward getting to share your truth, speak your truth, express yourself. This is where the areas, again, that light you up, that make you shine, that feel good. Let's be honest, right? The things that help you feel expressed, alive, inspired. That's the energy you're getting into, which is more or less play, right? Another version of play. Of where we feel alive, where we feel inspired, where we feel on top of the world, where we feel like everything is going right, where we feel like everything is falling into place. It's moving into more of those areas. And some of you might say, I don't know what that is anymore. I've been doing the same old tired routine now for so long, I've kind of forgotten. Okay, well, explore. Okay, try new things, have a new conversation, go on a new date, do something fresh, buy yourself some flowers. Like, it can be small, it can be big. For you, it's a matter of where are the areas in your life or within yourself where you could bring in new energy, where you could try something different, where you can get some more fresh air, fresh energy in there. Anything that's stagnant, gets to go. Bring on the freshness, bring on the aliveness, bring on the youth, bring on the inspiration, bring on the energy of the Fool and the Tarot. However you can do that, whatever is most aligned for you uniquely, right? Because this is going to look different for everybody. Some of you want to freshen up your relationship. Some of you want to freshen up your career. Some of you just want to freshen up the way you feel, feeling better, feeling good, feeling different, feeling confident in yourself. Some of you want to bring more infused fresh energy into your work, into your career, into your business. I think we said career. So it's just a matter of getting that inspired, putting yourself in those places, getting yourself in those spaces within yourself. What makes you come alive? What makes you feel inspired? And then getting on and doing those things, right? So card pile 1, what are you ready to know now? That your stuckness was more or less a result of your stuckness. Like when you're in the same old tired routine, or you're burnout and you kind of lost the zest for life or whatever, kind of lost that sense of vitality, that leads to a lower level of manifestation, oftentimes dissatisfaction, a lack of fulfillment. Ultimately, what you need is movement outside of that comfort zone, outside of that hamster wheel, doing things that infuse you with zest, vitality, life force, energy, inspiration. That's what's going to help you and support you to continue to manifest in the areas that you want to. I feel like card pile 1, you must be really good manifestors, and maybe you just had an off time or a sabbatical away. That's all well and good, but now all you have to do is freshen up your own energy, and it's going to bring you exactly what you need to get you where you want to go. So card pile 1, this was your reading. I look forward to hearing your responses this time. Do like, subscribe, press the bell icon. Of course, the Spiritual Mentorship Academy is now open and enrolling for the Professional Spiritual Mentor Certification Program. You can check out those details at erritygreen.com/the-academy. And as always, do check out my other YouTube channel, Psychic True Crime, which is linked below, alongside my books published on Amazon. Thank you, card pile 1. Card pile 2, what are you ready to know now? Okay, so I feel like for a time, card pile 2, you haven't quite felt like yourself or seen yourself as clearly. Maybe you haven't felt as empowered or as powerful. Maybe you haven't felt as good or alive. Maybe you haven't felt the way that you once did. Perhaps when you see yourself now, you sort of cower or turn down, where you used to maybe stand tall, sit up, chin up, and you just felt good. You felt like you could take on the world. Card pile 1 for some of you may also resonate. I would recommend it if and only if, right? If and only if when you looked at the card piles, you were kind of going back and forth. If so, check out that too, if it resonates. But card pile 2, we're talking about reclaiming yourself. Okay, the reclamation, the great reclamation, coming back into your truth, coming back into your power, coming back into your greatness, your wisdom, your glory, sort of picking up the pieces, finishing up the licking of the wounds, and carrying on, moving on. Okay, so what are you ready to know now? That you can reclaim yourself at any moment, at any time. Like, I feel like you waiting, and I feel like you're in the energy of the old or the same, or the stuckness or the stagnation, or the energy of, I don't know, and I don't really feel like I know, and I really don't know where to go. Maybe you lack focus, direction, energy, motivation, clarity, intention, desire. You just kind of feel like maybe bumping a log or a puddle, and you're like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. And that's fine. I just feel like some of you maybe have been off, kind of clocked out for a time, and maybe went through a big shift, transition, kind of dark night of the soul kind of thing, where you go through a rebirth, and now you're sort of like, well, who am I now, and how do I find out who I am? And after all these things have transpired, some of you might have gone through an initiation like parenthood, loss of a job, change in scenery, change in like residence, like, maybe move from one side of the country to the other. Some of you might have lost a relationship. So there could have been a loss, a transition, a shift of some kind. It's not clear. It's just saying you went from kind of being one thing to another thing. And then now it's time to see yourself in your full, whole, true power. Okay. And it's about reclaiming yourself. Like, you're going to be the one to call all that back and step into the new, right? It's not necessarily going to be handed to you or delivered to you on a silver platter, like a pizza delivery guy. Hey, here's your, rebirth. It's like, it's going to have to come from you. Ultimately, you're going to be the one to decide to move forward. Now, again, that's where it reminds me of card pile 1. So again, if it lands for you, do check that out. Let's see what else is here. I do feel like it's going within to find your power, to find yourself again, to find your truth again, to find your trust again. So There's something here about reclaiming your power that's probably not going to be found in ego, meaning there's nothing wrong with ego, but I feel like a lot of you went through a shift where you lost a lot of that, where things changed, where a lot of the things you used to kind of grab onto, hold onto, grasp onto, to sort of feel good about yourself or feel validated or feel loved or approved of or whatever are no longer in your life or a part of your world, or maybe you don't care about those things anymore. Maybe you don't value those things anymore. Some of you could be material accomplishments or prestige at a job or a relationship or whatever, where if there was a big shift or a loss where now you can no longer define yourself by those things. And so I think you're not going to find your power anymore by anything outside of you. So if you've been looking out there and waiting for the success or the acclaim or the recognition or the love or the approval or the thing, whatever it is for you to like make you feel better or to make you feel good again or to help you feel empowered again, the whole point of this shift was to always find it within and find it within yourself through a spiritual source, and whatever you consider to be spiritual, right? But something from within, something that connects you, say, to a higher power. Some of you, that's God. Some of you, it's cosmos, great spirit, universe, whatever. But it was always finding, the deeper you, right? The truer you, the you beyond all of the material rewards and accomplishments and all the things out in the material world. This is much more about you reconnecting with you. Now, for some of you, that's going to sound confusing or unsure, unclear if you haven't connected with that part of yourself. So your life might be calling for you to create the space to be able to uncover this within you, to uncover this power within, to reconnect with that power within. You might be, signing up for meditation classes or retreats or yoga certification programs or something like that to support you to find yourself. You don't have to be, but I do feel like that could be relevant or is, as we speak, relevant for some of you, where it's about finding that within you then. Like if you haven't been able to find it on your own, perhaps some support, some structure, some guidance, some container or program or something to be able to support you to be able to find that. But it's something you can find on your own. It happens in the quiet spaces of your life, the still spaces of your life, where again, the form world disappears. The world of form disappears and you're able to enter the formless. And ultimately, what you find when you connect with this part of yourself and you're no longer making the outside world your primary truth, your primary reality, you start to find within you that kind of that other part of you holds more weight, or at least equal weight, where it's like the outside world, the external world, the world of form isn't where all of your power is found, your truth is found, your approval is found. You just start to recognize that it doesn't have to hold as much weight as it has done in the past for you. And at this time in your life, it really doesn't hold much weight anyway, because you've lost a lot of that or transformed or shifted so much from that. That your next identity, your next chapter, your new birth, what happens next is going to be more so based in spiritual power and the truth of you and the more limitless, formless version of you than it is based in the ego, form, tangibles, accomplishments, achievements, external rewards, all that stuff. So you've been searching for a long time out there and come up fruitless. That's why, because this was always meant to be about coming back to yourself, your true self, connecting within. And that starts to become your truth. That starts to become your anchor. That starts to be where you start your day from and end your day at. That starts to be the truth that you carry with you that becomes more powerful, more alive, and more real than even the external world, the 3D world, the 5D, we could say, whatever, 12D. It doesn't really matter because people get really locked up and all that stuff. This is language and we just use the words that we have, the ideas that we have, the conceptions that we have, all of that to say, this is about uncovering that connection, that relationship, and that is going to be sort of the beacon of light or the lighthouse or whatever that continues to guide you, lead you, show you the way, that becomes the primary sort of initiator of your life as opposed to anything that was ego. So if you've been looking for your old self, they're gone. Grieve, a mourning ceremony if needed or ritual of some kind. Really face that. Be with that. Get with that. Connect with that. Honor, acknowledge that. And then once that's fully acknowledged and sort of digested, processed, owned or accepted at some level, because I imagine there's always deeper acceptance of some kind. This is about, okay, now stepping into a new version of you, and it's not going to be based in this egoic stuff that you once did. So if you've been searching for value, approval, and all that stuff outside, that's where you've been, quote unquote, going wrong and not finding what it is you seek, because this is always about you turning inward. Yeah, this is where your legacy comes through. Look at you. Card pile too. This is about you now owning a higher perspective. Ooh, higher perspective. This was always about that. It's like no longer operating from little self, with little s. It's no longer about ego and, again, achievements, external rewards, tangibles, all this stuff. It doesn't mean we're like doing away with it. I'm done with you. Been there, done that. My time is expired here. It's more of like that no longer holds as much weight as it once did. That no longer dictates how you feel about yourself or the choices that you make or the trust that you have. And instead you start turning inward for your truth, where everything quiets down and you're able to find the truth within your own being. And that is what becomes the sort of criterion. That is the thing that guides you, leads you, shows you the way. That's who you're meant to embody. Your higher self, the higher perspective, self with a capital S. If you want to call it your higher self, some people call it their authentic self, their true self. More so living true to that as opposed to the 3D, the external world, the tangibles, the world of form. This is about tapping into the one, the whole, the all, the first resource, tapping into creation itself. Like that's where you're meant to come from here. Be more of a vessel and expression of that at this point in your life, more so than any old version of you or ego identity or personality or persona that you once owned and maintained. If you're still searching and seeking for that, again, that's sort of where you're going wrong, i.e. not getting results because you're looking in the wrong places. It was always, again, that's the third time I think, about turning back to you. Like, take a look at the picture. Closing your eyes, going within. Something is born from that place. And what is it? Higher perspective. This is where you tap into your legacy. All of these are valid perspectives, but let's just say this was you before, now you're kind of operating as this. You see that? The higher perspective. So this is what you're stepping into, what you're becoming, what you're now embodying is more of you as the formless you as the S with the capital, self with a capital S. Anything else that wants to be shared here? Yeah, reclaiming. You're going to reclaim your power through spirit or through the spiritual, as opposed to anything from the world of form or the ego or external validation or approval or any of those things. I feel like you've been looking in the rat race for something you'll only find within. So card pile 2, do let me know how this resonates for you, lands for you, speaks to you. Share your story in the comments, like, subscribe, press the bell icon. If you want to get to know more about me, my work, or you want to become certified as a professional spiritual mentor, you can check out those details at erritygreen.com/theacademy or below. And with that, I bid you farewell. Thank you, card pile 2. All right, card pile 3. What are you ready to know now, to hear now? Okay. So it's so interesting because I do want to share that it looks like card pile 1, 2, and 3 could very well be connected and be a chronological or developmental or maturation story for even one person, where every person who's listening to this reading could watch from beginning to end and get something from it. So I do want to share that. I will make sure I put that in the comments. That way anyone who looks at any one pile knows that it could follow someone from beginning to end. With that said, it's not going to be the case for everyone, but I'm seeing that now. And so I do want to share that for those of you who might be cross-watching from one pile to the other, and or if you just jumped on pile 3 and you were also sort of torn between 2 or 1, you might go back and listen to all 3. So I feel like there was a tower moment or destruction or something in your life that really turned your whole world over on its head, where it's like west was no longer east or east was no longer west. Well, I guess that's already the case, but it's like you couldn't catch left from right, north from south. Like, I just feel like this changed everything for you, and I feel like you've tried to find your sense of purpose, or your sense of power, or your sense of trust, or your sense of faith, or your sense of joy, or your sense of aliveness, or whatever. And you've been on this quest or this search or this mission. It's really been the soul's journey, of really finding yourself, uncovering what's true and what's not, falsehood from truth, doubt from truth, illusion from truth. What do you believe? Why do you believe that? Is that a belief that's still relevant for you, that you still carry, that you want to carry? Is it something that you still value? Is it true for you? Where have you been? Where are you going? How far you have come? It's just coming and probably so much of reflection, deep introspection, deep awareness, soul diving, we can say, because it's like deep sea diving, but soul diving, because you're going in, you're going all the way. And I feel like you've really, again, dove deep and really discovered like all the different layers of yourself that you could have ever discovered, the different stories that you carry, the wisdom that you carry, the experiences that you've had, how it ties to the wisdom and the stories and the experiences. You might have even done some, again, we talked about soul searching, but you might have received support from maybe mentors, therapists, coaches, support system healers, whatever. I just feel like you've been on the path, you've been doing the thing, but it definitely has something to do with this deep soul diving and probably going deeper into yourself than you ever have in this lifetime, and maybe even deeper than you ever gone in any other lifetime. And it feels like if that's the case for some of you where that resonates, that this has been a long time in the making in terms of maybe many lifetimes leading up to this. And now you're in a position where you were able to hold steady well enough to really go deep. Kind of even some Scorpio energy here. So you might have some Scorpio in your sun, moon, rising signs in your north node, or just multiple places in your chart. You don't have to, but it just feels so deep and it feels so like just depth and even seriousness and just like all the way, towards like silent. Now, it doesn't mean you've let yourself be silent, but it does mean that, again, you've gone really deep and you've taken this to heart and this has become your soul work. This journey from this destruction, death, demise of what once was. It could be a lost tower moment, crumbling, your whole life turning upside down or on its head or whatever, where everything changed, meaning of life changed, beliefs about life changed, beliefs about yourself changed, questioning everything. Nothing is believable anymore. It's all just sort of like, it feels like total like an utter groundlessness where everything's suspended in air and you just had to go sort of sifting through it all and taking a look at each thing and really determining sort of what your next step was. Again, answering all those questions we talked about earlier. Deep introspection, reflection, soul diving. And now here's what's interesting though. It was always going to bring you back to your power. And it's almost like you go deeper and deeper and deeper. It's like the spiraling staircase, in a castle or a dungeon where it just goes down and down and down. Of course, you're going to the inner recesses of your psyche, and you're going into your history, and you're going into your relationships and relationship dynamics and familial dynamics and relationships and generational cycles, and seeing which cycles you've broken and which ones you've perpetuated and which ones you no longer want to subscribe to or participate in, which ones your parents did, which ones your grandparents did, which ones you're still operating from, where the addictions are had and the compulsions, and where you're still operating from a place of trauma, and what was that trauma, and how, and where do those parts of you exist inside of your own body, and how do you find that, and how do you work with that part of you? I know you guys are doing this stuff because it's just coming like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. Ultimately, though, where this brings you down that spiraling staircase where you might feel like it's fruitless or it's nowhere, you still feel like it's pitch black, okay? I feel like for many of you, or if not most of you, probably most, because that feels right when I say it, you're still sort of on this quest, but ultimately at the bottom, there is, first of all, I do think it's eternal in some way, by the way, infinite. So you could stay here forever, just FYI. I don't think that you will. I think that at any point in time, it's sort of like you get to have the torch. It's like you have the light, or you can turn on the light, and I don't know yet. We're going to move on as we go. At any point in time, you can, set the fire to like the candles that line the stairway, or grab a torch or turn the torch on. You don't have to be completely in the darkness. You don't have to be completely in introspection, reflection. You can always take that light and go back up. I do feel like there's value in here for you as you are finding yourself again and gaining greater awareness and greater truth and discovery. But I feel like ultimately where this brings you is as a place of eternal power or infinite power, where it might feel groundless in some way, where it maybe doesn't feel like the same kind of power you would find in the external world or in the 3D or in like accomplishments or career, or where you're recognized, where it's like really easy to kind of tangibly hold on to something. This feels like a groundless eternal power, where it's almost like you've given up the search or the need to know or the quest or the something to hold on to. It's like oftentimes we're looking for something to hold on to feel a certain way, or to know ourselves, or to have certainty, or to find faith or whatever. And I almost feel like you end up finding some kind of power, and the surrender of needing that, wanting that. It's like you almost recognize that there is no sort of final answer or final destination or true arrival, that this does go on or can go on or carry on forever and ever and ever. And you've already done a lot of that to see that too. So it almost feels like you end up finding, instead of some kind of certificate or like plaque or reward or promotion or career or something to hold your hat on. It's like you surrender that and recognize there's actually more power in the formless. Like even though the 3D world would not tell you that you're able to find power and the sort of infiniteness that you are. And I know this is a very deep reading. Like I said, I warned some of y'all, Scorpio like right here and stuff I wouldn't even have thought of or even known. So it's very interesting to me. But like you end up finding your power more so in the I am than the persona, than the personality, than the achievements, than the career or the relationship or whatever it is, wherever you've sought for something, wanted something to hold on to, you end up finding more power and likely gratification in the I am and the infinite and the formless and the eternal. I feel like that's one of the things, one of the many, many, many things that you uncover from this journey is the surrender for something specific or an answer or some kind of whatever that we kind of grasp onto to feel better, to find a sense of certainty and safety in this world. And you ultimately find that looking for that is a fruitless, pointless search. And so you give it up and you just recognize yourself in the moment as you are, like that's enough. So let's see what else is here. Yeah, this is about you and your relationship to God, Great Spirit, Cosmos, Higher Power, Universe, the formless, the eternal, the infinite, the I am, the source, the creator, the creation, whatever. This is about your relationship with that, like the infinite, the void. I just feel like a lot of void energy here for card pile 3. Do let me know if that lands, please. Where I feel like you start realizing that even, the whole God is your source. Like you build a stronger, deeper, forge a stronger bond with that relationship, that connection with the eternal, with the infinite. Excuse me. Still healing from that cold, if you didn't notice. It's been many, many weeks. I've been talking for a while, especially for your reading. But I am going to try to finish this up because I'm almost at time. But this is about you kindling this relationship with spirit, with the eternal, with the formless, where that becomes where you receive, right? Where you receive your power, your connection, your love. What you're receiving is going to come more from that. And like I would say, when I opened with these cards, I really felt like a very superficial response, also like an energy that wanted to, or something that wanted to come through for this reading about taking the time to be with yourself so you can receive from God, source, spirit, universe, whatever. But what's interesting is I'm not feeling that anymore. It's really taken me to a much deeper place. And it's more about like, I feel it's a natural shift, an organic one, probably not one you're going to be able to contrive or manipulate or make happen. But I feel like that is where you end up, where you just come to a deeper place of trust. You come to a deeper place of faith. You realize there's no point in trying to force, understand, manipulate, micromanage, do this, do that, wait for this, secure this, anchor this, get the final answer for that. Like, it's almost like, just forget it. You can almost like give up the need to know, give up the need for any kind of safety, security, whatever, where it's like, not that you're going to go put yourself like, on a train track. But I'm saying like, where our ego can try to grasp for all these things just to feel safe, just to have certainty, all that stuff. It's like you end up going on this deep soul dive journey for so long, where you eventually uncover nothing is what it seems. All of it is paradoxical. None of it makes any sense. You really don't have any idea. And when you think you have an idea, you really don't. You think you know and you have no idea. And so you're like, well, this is fruitless. Like, what's the point? You just keep on going down this road. And ultimately, it's like there are rules, but then there are those rules that might be rules end up They end up expiring, and then you find another set of rules that then become obsolete. So it's like, what's the point of all this? There are no rules. Throw it all up in the air. It's like the 52 card pickup like my dad used to do. Throw it all, just forget it, because what's the point? So where you just give up the search, you give up the need to know, you give up to the need for any of that kind of typical stuff that we all search for, and you let your life sort of speak for itself, your experience to speak for itself, where you just, again, that I am. That silence, not that you actually have to be silent, right? But it's, again, this is very much like card pile 2, but a much deeper take on it. So I would explore that if you were torn between card piles. But yeah, ultimately, this is about you building a relationship with you, capital Y you, source you, infinite you, whatever, where you realize that's really the source of all things, and kind of taking life up with anything or anyone else out here in the world of form is sort of like a fruitless endeavor or search. And that while there might be rules or laws or whatever, ultimately none of it ever makes any sense and none of them are final. So what's the point? And you can just be, basically. You can just be. Give up all the other stuff that makes life more complicated or difficult. Let's see. Yeah, again, more Scorpio energy. Yeah, you end up finding sort of the source of love. You know, you end up finding love, like not just love, like, oh, romantic relationship. You find a partner. That's not what this reading's about. It could come in that form, but I'm not feeling that. It's more of like you open yourself, avail yourself to love, like love as an energy, love as the experience, love, you know, that original source that we all are born from. You end up finding that because, again, you end up sort of giving up all this other stuff. You realize it's not taking you anywhere else. It's not really benefiting you. You're not getting what you need out of it or whatever. It's sort of you leave the world of form behind for the formless. And it doesn't mean you like pass on and go to the afterlife. It means you stop relying on the world of form to give you what you think you're going to get from it, because you never tend to be gratified there anyway. And you start going more to this infinite power, the one power, right? The original power, who you really are at the deepest level. And I do feel like there's this lingering message here of that's where you're going to get your whatever it is you seek. Maybe it's energy, peace, contentment, feeling different, fulfillment, satisfaction. Please know it is going to come from this relationship. And that's what you're discovering, is it's never going to come from anything out here. And that even if you got everything that you could ever want out here, you could still feel blank, numb, empty on the inside, that deep void. And so that's why you just give it all up then. You know, what's the point? Because, well, not that you can't pursue these things, right? You can pursue worldly affairs. It's not about letting go of the ego in the world, right? We're not passing on and moving on into the afterlife. You just now operate from a different place, from the I am, from the truth, from the present moment fully, from a place of being. You know, nothing, again, all the other things that you thought mattered didn't. All the things that other people say matters doesn't. Where it's like people get caught up in these dramas or human affairs, or you got to accomplish this thing and you better hurry up and rush to this meeting, and all those things we typically get caught up in, like they no longer touch you. You more or less become invincible because you found the true power, the only true power there is. I could go on for a long time. I'm going to end your reading here. And I know this is very deep. This one wasn't as a practical reading as maybe the other two readings or other ones, but I imagine that those of you who chose this reading chose it for a reason. I think you're entering into territory that is probably unfathomable for most people. So it does speak to your maturity and your level of development. And this is an advanced state of being, to be completely honest. And that's where you're coming into or finding at this point, where you realize the world of form isn't going to give you, very much reminding me of card pile 1, but even a card pile 2, a little bit of card pile 1, is not going to be like the answer to your prayers. It's not going to be the Holy Grail. Like whatever it is you're seeking out here, oh wait, I'm never going to find it. Okay. Or even all the healing work. Oh, I could just keep on doing this forever and ever and ever. But you just decide to be. That's your reading, card pile 3. So do check out, share your story in the comments below, rather. Like, subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications. And do check out the Spiritual Mentorship Academy. We are enrolling now for the Professional Spiritual Mentor Certification Program. You can find those details at erritygreen.com/the-academy. And I have that linked below. Also, of course, Psychic True Crime is linked below if you want to join that YouTube community alongside my books on Amazon. And otherwise, thank you, Card Pile 3. A super deep reading. I'd love to hear from you if this resonated. And I will see you next time. Thank you, Card Pile 3.